Alright, time to carve this neck. So I've got my cut lines all marked out. I've got some tapering lines on the back here, and I've got some lines on the side which I'm going to use as guides for removing the wood, the waste material. So I'll just start cutting in here, and I'll cut back to these first two lines. There's a line here close to the fretboard, 8mm from the top, and then there's a line in here that I've got to go to. So I'll just start with a spoke shave usually. Let's see if I can get this to cut. There we go. So I'll just cut down like that until we get down to those lines. All right. Still working away on it. Spoke shaves are pretty quick. I used to do this with a rasp, you know, from the beginning, but it's a long process because when you're removing a lot of material like this, or, you know, maybe even though the rasp is fairly quick, this is much quicker. So when you get down close to the lines, then you get your rasp out. So this is we're getting there. And then we'll just start rasping. Like that, until we get down to those outer two lines. Alright, coming along. It's amazing how accurate you can be with those rasps. You know, like I'm almost into the line here, all the way up to the top. Basically, when you use your lines like that, you know, you don't overcut or overcarve it. You're likely to do okay. Because you can't overcarve if you don't mark your limits, you know. Bob, you better learn some chords, man, because I don't want to do all this and have you hang this on the wall. Look at it. This thing's got to be played. Alrighty. Here. Yeah, there's a flat side to this and a round side, and I've got different sizes, right? Down to small. So you do a pretty good job, you know, get it shaped down to approximately where you want it, and then you fine tune it later with, you know, sandpaper stuff and scrapers. All right. So we're getting up around the headstock here now, and cutting into the line here, and just trying to transition this area here into the actual headstock. So I got a cut line here, which is a margin, and then one coming down just right here. I'm getting close to those now. And then I'll transition it in here. Like that, see? Okay, so I'm going to start the faceting. I use a longer rasp here. So here's the cut line. So I'm going to put the rasp like that so it's the same angle here and here approximately. And you just cut down to the center line. And just like that. It's less cutting up here and more back here because the neck's thicker, right? So it goes fairly quickly. Right? Now, see if you know if you can appreciate that there. You should be able to see it. So you see I've cut the facet up here, right? Into the center line. Down, you can see a line right here. So the one side of the neck is done. Now, so the next facet for that side is to go on this line right here, which is not a pencil line, it's made by the rasp, right? So we'll just cut down here, right, and transition it in here again, and then do the same on this side, right? So we got both sides, got the first facets done, okay? So now I'll cut down this side, and then I'll cut down this side here, right? Facet those, and then the next facet will be the center, right down the center. And that'll create two more lines here, and then I'll just facet those, and eventually you get down to a point where, you know, you've got it rounded and shaped, and then you can start scraping it, right? So I've only been at this about a half an hour, right? Like the first few times, that obviously took longer, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's not that bad. I mean, that was the most daunting thing for me, was to carve the neck. I thought, how am I going to do that, you know? But it works out, especially when you mark your lines. So now I'm cut down to the fretboard on either side, right? You can see, you know, I'm taking it down here and over on this side, taking it down to the fretboard, right? So now I'll start doing these facets and do the center. You know, we're getting there very quickly, actually. So usually when I'm doing the center, I start measuring, right? So I'll come down here and just see what my thickness is. So I've got, you know, 950 thousandths, right? I want to go to 90 and then, you know, then stop. And then up here it'll be 820, right? So I got about 60 thousandths here. And 60 thousandths is what, like third, what is it, 1/8 of an inch? Something like that, right? So it's a fair bit, you know. Anyway, that's how it goes. Just so you don't overcut, because you don't want to rasp down too deep and end up with it, you know, too thin here. Because, like I say, you're getting close to the truss rod when you're getting down to those numbers, and you don't want to cut through too much and weaken the wood underneath the truss rod, right? Because then your neck might move more. So the facet I'm cutting here is, you know, the flat one is an important one, because this is where I'm going to be measuring now, right? So right now up here I'm 90, so 900 thousandths. I got to go to 820, right? So I get 80 thousandths left, which I said 60 thousandths was 1/8 of an inch. It's actually a 16th of an inch, so it's not that much, right? And here I want to be about 85. I'm 89 there, so I gotta watch it here. I gotta kind of get this down a little bit lower. And then back here, I think I was 92 when I finished. So I'll just cut a little bit more from here to here now. Get that down a bit lower. Now, see if you know if you can appreciate that there. You should be able to see it. So you see I've cut the facet up here, right? Into the center line. Down, you can see a line right here. So the one side of the neck is done. Now, so the next facet for that side is to go on this line right here, which is not a pencil line, it's made by the rasp, right? So we'll just cut down here, right, and transition it in here again, and then do the same on this side, right? Let's see how we're doing here. So we got 90, 89, 89 there too, 86, 85, so it goes all down up to 83 or 82. So that's good. I'll stop there now. I'll fast it here and then get it all rounded out, and then I'll do final thicknessing, right? So I'm just rounding it over now, roughly, and feeling for bumps, right? So if I feel a lump, I'll just kind of rasp it over, right? So, yeah, just like that. Turn it around. Same down on this end here now. Just feel for bumps. It's not too bad, actually. I'm just light rasping to level it more. And you'll feel right here, it's just still flat, so just kind of round that out. Like that. Now we'll do some measurements here now. Let's see what we got. Okay. So right at the first fret, 81, 2, so 812. The third fret, 81. Here, 80, almost 83. Here, 85. Here, 85. 85. So we're up to 80, that's 90, so I'm getting back to the heel. So 85 down to, yeah, so I'll take that down closer to 80 and then up here, and then all this will be good. And 80 is a nice low profile, like nice thin neck, right? Easy to get your hand around and easy to chord, right? So I think you like this guitar, especially as a beginner, you know? You don't want to have to wrap your hand around a big, thick, heavy neck. So, and I like a thin neck still, you know. My fingers are not long, particularly, so I like to be able to get my hand right around. Yeah. So I'm trying to make it, make it comfortable without going too thin, because, you're getting close to the truss rod, like I said before. All right, so taking some measurements here now. I'm 82, 820. 83, 84 really, 85, 87, so that's good. I'll turn it around, I'll go up that way. And I'm putting a straight edge on too, to make sure if I got any hollows that I don't cut there. So I want to get a straight line sloping upward just slightly up to here. Right? I have a scraper here that's rounded, right? And you got a little burr on one side, and then you just, and the rounded edge on the scraper helps to round out the neck a bit more, so just go over it like that. That takes out the heavy scratches too, which are hard to sand out. Starting to feel smooth already, but that'll be really smooth once you get that sanded down to 220 and higher even, 320. That'll be beautiful. And then of course you lacquer it and polish the lacquer, and it's a real nice finish. Oh, beautiful. Yep. So a bit of sandpaper now afterwards, or a bit of 120 sandpaper. Just to piece I used on the fretboard. It's sanding block. Looking good. Sand off the lines, right? Cut lines, don't need those anymore. Sand off the glue. A little mark there, a little in the grain in the wood, that'll give it a bit of character. You won't see this will be in the next pocket. Get the lines all sanded down and get the wood clean, you know, so that when you put the finish on, it's more uniform. There we go. Real nice. I'll go up and grit a bit now. I got an instrument here, you know, there's nothing special about it, it's just a bunch of pins, right? You see them in the box stores. But it's handy for this because you can get a profile on your neck, just like that, right? So that's good, that's not bad. I can probably knock a little bit more off there. But I'll feel it in the end and see how it feels. Just run my hand on it. As long as it's, you know, reasonably symmetrical. There's a little bit of a bump on that side, I think. Yeah, a little bit of a bump there. So down there. Yeah. Probably knock a bit more, scrape a bit more off of this up here. All right. Getting pretty smooth. That's 120, so now I'm going to go to 150 and go over it with 150. Doesn't take much sanding to smoothen it, you know, when you go up in grits like that. So the 150 will smoothen it out pretty quick. But if you jump too high, if you try to go from, you know, 120 to 220, it has more work to get it smooth. But if you go from 150 to 220, it's easier. I mean, I've got papers here up to 2500 grit, which you wouldn't use for dry sanding. They're for wet sanding. So when when you're sanding lacquer, after the lacquer's hardened, you wet sand it. You mix water and soap, and you soak the paper in it. You know, up to 2500 grit paper, and then you smoothen out the lacquer before you polish it. So that gets the really tiny scratches out of the lacquer. You wouldn't even see them, look at them, but it makes it dull because the light reflects differently off of it when there's little scratches. So if you smooth it right out, that's how you get that glassy finish, right? A bit of a workout there, sanding. A bit of cold drink down a little bit. Not beer, too early for that. Okay. You get a popper of water or something. Drink. There you go. Looks nice, eh? Look at that. See? Now I'll go 220 now, and then it'll be even better. Nice neck, eh? Beautiful. Okay. There's fresh 220 paper. Fresh sandpaper is always so nice, right? Cuts better. See, that's real powdery. Okay, and just about finished. What I'll do now, I'll put this on the guitar and let you have a look at it. Big difference. So you got the neck shape. See how fine that is. And yes, I'm wearing the same clothes I had on last night because it's messy, right? So throw these in the wash when I'm done this part of it, and then the rest of it's pretty clean. The woodworking will be done after this. Not that woodworking is dirty, it's just dusty. Okay. I like woodworking for that reason. You just blow it off, right? But if I was into, imagine you were into mechanic work or something like that, you know. And then you had to go to work with grease, and you wouldn't be able to do it. But this is great that way. Yeah, lovely. There we go. Let's see how that looks. I could do a bit more sanding there. These corners here, you know, where there's end grain, are always hard to get smooth. You got to work on them a lot. Well, we'll get it. There you go. End result. Nice and smooth. I'll go over this again now at even higher grit, probably, you know, 320. You can go higher as you want, really, I suppose. But before you start, you know, you'll notice a difference. You stop at around 320. This is great. See. Just focus that there. Yeah, right down around the heel. When you get the stain on that, you'll see that more. Right. Nice low profile. Right. That's 80 up here, and I think around 85 or 86 down here at the butt end. So it's a nice low profile neck. Yeah. There you go, man. The woodworking is pretty much done on this guitar. I just got to drill some holes here for the string throughs because the strings come up through the back. There's little ferrules down here I got to put in. So a little bit of drilling, but nothing major. And I had a plate there, so I bolted the neck on. And there it is. And, you know, bit of sanding now to smoothen it. And then we'll try some finishes. I'll dye the neck. Get that done first, that light amber. And then I'll work on the body, trying to show the grain through a blonde color. If I can come up with the right dye mixture, you know, to create blonde. Probably, you know, obviously yellow, and then something to lighten it. I don't know if I have white dye. I don't think I do. But anyway, just maybe go with yellow and like just a little bit of yellow and a little bit of brown, right? To deepen it a bit or darken it. Not too much, just a hint. I got a color chart there. There you go. Nice, eh? There you go. Gonna be fine. Learn some chords.